is Blair Durham with Black Wall Street Today, your media hub for all things Black entrepreneurship, politics, news, and events in Hampton Roads and beyond.
Hey, would you like to be a guest on Black Wall Street Today with Blair Durham? The link is in the show notes.
And now, here's your host, Blair Durham.
Greetings.
Stay locked in.
Good morning and welcome to our Monday morning Coffee Connect. Mr. Jarrod Freeman, he and his wife are the founders of Fresh Cup Coffee and Tea Company that they actually started during the pandemic. So excited to have you here and just sharing the great news about coffee and tea on your doorstep. Would love to hear from you, Jarrod, about how and why you founded the company.
Well, first of all, thank you, Blair and Cheryl and the other entrepreneurs that are here. It's really an honor to be here among you and to learn from you and also to network. I'm interested in everything everyone has spoke about because they all have an impact on us daily. So I really am looking forward to getting to know everyone here. So to the question you asked, Blair, absolutely. We started the business due to the fact that I lost my job during the pandemic in June. And so the business actually launched officially in July of 2020. So basically, it's a simple story, really, because I was in the coffee refreshment services industry working for a few large firms. A couple were international in presence. And I just learned about coffee and tea and refreshments working over 12 years in the business. So I just decided, why not use some of the connections I made over the years, vendors, suppliers, roasters, these types of folks, just kind of put it all together into a website where the general public can benefit from what I used to do for William and Mary, what I used to do for Van Deventer Black Law Firm, the Decker Firm, Town Bank. These are all companies that, have discriminating taste in coffees and teas and things of that nature. And they really want among the very best teas and coffees. But one thing they have in common, they don't want to spend, $35 an ounce for coffees and teas. And so that's what I bring to the table. I allow the general public to go to my website and become part of a well thought out and researched variety of premium coffees and teas. And I think sometimes, and I remember saying this to you when we spoke in the past briefly, that there's often a misconception among African-American entrepreneurs. And unfortunately, it's not true, but the perception is if you work with an entrepreneur that's of color, that somehow you're going to get something that's second rate or something that's maybe not put together as well. And what we have to do is at Fresh Cut, we fight that stereotype by exceeding our customers' expectations, because we recognize that that's something that's out there, that they may not get the very best. So that's one of the reasons why we really put a lot of effort to getting premium quality products. And then not only that, I'm roasting everything locally here now. And so I can get stuff out fast and fresh. Generally, 99% of everything we have ships the same day. And the only reason something may not ship the same day is because generally on Tuesdays, I'm receiving a new shipment of fresh roasted coffee from my supplier. So if someone places an order for a particular item, generally it's no more than a day or so. And I always reach out to them and let them know, because I know the feeling of when you order something online and days go by, you don't know what's going on. So I just try to put myself in the place of the client. So in a nutshell, without rambling too much, that's really what we are. And we're excited that today we're actually going to go look at some warehouse space. because my family game room is starting to bust with products. And it's so funny because we started with one little shelf, and now we've got 5 shelves, or little cabinets that have expanded. So we're really looking forward to looking at that space and possibly turning it into a combination retail in the front of the space, depending on the square footage is and the build out. I haven't seen it yet. And then having some space to have our products stored there so people can actually come and pick up product if they would like, because I do spend quite a bit in shipping. So that would actually, I think, offset some of those costs. So we're excited about that. We're not going to make a move unless it's right. But it's platforms like this that, in my opinion, Blair, has gotten me where we are now with the publicity that you gave us. And we are really grateful for it.
Wow. One question that popped up here in the chat. Thanks, Cheryl, for this. Can you share with us the process that you went through to start a business? So I love that you gave the context of really this business was birthed out of something that you already had expertise in, kind of putting together those supplier connections, etc. But what did you actually do kind of technically to get this business off the ground? Her follow-up is take viewers through a step-by-step process of business startup.
Okay. I'll tell you exactly what I did. So first thing I did was I began to reach out to a few friends of mine that I knew worked from home. And in fact, I totally skipped that part of the question because that's very key. I actually reached out to a few friends and asked them basically, would they be interested in using my products if I was to have a business that could deliver certain products to their home, and asked about budget and their company, how would they handle it. In other words, I had one person that actually told me they would actually have a stipend every month for buying supplies, and that included coffee. So I think the first thing that I did, and I would recommend people do, is definitely understand if you have a market. All right. If you call your friend or a family member and you say, hey, I want to sell you these little widgets, would you buy them? And all 10 of those people say, absolutely, I would buy that. Do you have them now? That's a pretty good indication that you have something that's in demand. Now, if all 10 say no, still doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't start your business. It should mean that you may have to do more research about your target demographic and make sure there is a need for your services. And so that's what I did. I reached out to a variety of people of diverse backgrounds too. I talked to people that were, close friends, people that were a part of my network, and also even a few of my former clients that I had. I wanted to kind of get the pulse of, and let me tell you the nice thing about doing that, because one of those people was a law firm, and that law firm is one of my customers. Because think about it. Think about the psychology of that, right? I'm asking this law firm if they would be interested in buying coffee from me and tea and things of that nature if I was to go into business. So now what have I essentially done for the business as step one? I basically let them commit to helping me get the business started. So that's the first thing. Second thing, more technical, is of course I went and registered with the State Corporation Commission. That's $100. I did seek out an LLC because based on the website and looking at how I was going to structure the business legally, I needed to do that. You also have to go to the IRS website and file for a federal tax ID number. Depending on the type of business that you're going to start, you may need to register with the local municipality of your city for a business license. In my case, I'm completely online. When I go into, let's say, a warehouse, basically is what the city of Virginia Beach told me, then I would need to, come in to downtown and register and paid a little, fee for that. The other thing is you have to be able to fund, your business. So you're going to need some startup money. And so we used some savings, and I also had some inherited funds as well. And so we had to put all of those things together. I also talked to an accountant and found out what the best tool would be for keeping my accounts in order. And so I use QuickBooks in connection with the Shopify website that I have. The interesting thing about QuickBooks, and of course, another step was I, of course, went and started a bank account. And I actually interviewed a few banks. I think it's important that you walk in the door confident and let them earn your business. And I basically told them this is what I needed to do, and could they meet those needs? And only you're going to understand what those needs are. Do you need a bank that has ATMs on every corner? Is that a big deal to you? Well, for me, I wanted that because I dealt with a credit union, which I love. I still have it, but their ATMs are pretty much at their locations. So that's hard for me when I'm in Portsmouth and I got to, maybe do something. I'm in Chesapeake and I'm in Hampton. So I needed to look at that. The other component for me was the online data presence. How could I do a lot of my things and integrate them with my website, which I was able to do, and in connection with QuickBooks. That's the other thing that I had to do some research on. I'm banking with PNC, and PNC allows you to connect to QuickBooks. And so when I do transactions, those transactions are automatically updated because I've connected them, together. So all I have to do is go in and basically click on what those transactions are. And of course, QuickBooks learns your transactions as well. So once you categorize something as a certain expense, then you can classify it as that. So when it comes in the next time, it will automatically categorize itself. I'm still at the surface of that. I definitely recommend you using a CPA. So I would love to definitely continue to network with anybody that's a CPA. I'm supposed to be working with a lady here that's the other thing too. Interview your CPAs, by the way, too. Find out if they really got time for you. Some people, I hate to say it, all right, but some people are just doing too much. Okay. And I had a lady that's supposed to call me back, I don't know how many times, and she's doing all kinds of things. And I understand that, but believe it or not, they say the human brain really cannot multitask. You really can only do one thing at a time. And I think you're doing yourself, and again, I'm speaking about this young lady that I was so weak that I've been trying to get a hold of her. And I'm on Facebook just perusing, posting some things for my business. And I see her at a BizConnect meeting, networking. And I'm like, okay, that's great that you're networking, but I need to talk to you. And you're at a BizConnect meeting. So I saw her on the BizConnect meeting with Laura Henderson and those folks. And I'm going, I can't get a hold of her. She's trying to get new clients and she's got a client. And I can't talk to her. Anyway.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's kind of a snapshot of that. I hope I didn't get too wonky in there, but I think it's important to really, you got to pair well with people you're going to be working with dealing with your money. And I'm learning that.
Yeah, no doubt. Gotta ask this question. Talk a little bit about the best-selling offerings on the coffee side, on the tea side. What is it that what's your bread and butter side of the business? What do people love?
And I'm starting to see now, reading the questions, they come up quick, and I don't have my glasses on, so that's why I've been kind of ignoring them. So now
I'll help moderate them. No worries.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so yeah, that's one of my favorite things to talk about. My top selling item, even though we're Fresh Cup coffee and tea, we should be Fresh Cup tea and coffee, because the top selling product on my website right now is True Honey Organic Blair Lavender Lemonade Green Tea. Okay, this is a product that is made in Northern Virginia. And the claim to fame for this one particular product is a couple things. One, they're using all organic materials, but two, they use bee farmers in the local Lorton, Virginia area, and they harvest the honey from them and they do granules of honey in each tea bag. So that's their claim to fame. So a lot of people add honey to their tea anyway, but when you have the honey granules already in the bag, and what's really cool, and I wish I had one I could show you. Okay, she's on the website. You can actually see the honey granules in the bottom of the bag. And so, Blair, I found
You
out.
added a rooibos.
Yes.
This is our favorite. You added a ginger lemon zest. Oh my
Yes.
goodness.
Yes. Well, and so let me say this, Blair. The other thing about being a small business, right, especially a growing business, I absolutely love feedback from my customers. So guess what? I never had that rooibos tea. But one of my customers, who's a regular customer, emailed me and asked me if I had access to it. And I said, absolutely. I didn't, know anyone wanted it. So one of the nice things about us, you can call me, email me, tell me, hey, I would like to see this. And guess what? I'll get it, because apparently that's a really big deal. It's a South African herbs that are in that tea. It promotes really a lot of antioxidants. And so I'm going to have to break open a bag myself and try it. But like I said, I go with time tested, products. When people call me up and have a request, if I can do it, if I have it available, then, I'm going to do it. And I was really excited. The next thing, believe it or not, as far as coffee, is my white raspberry truffle coffee. That's the next thing.
Right here.
Yeah. And I don't even know why I got it down there. It should be kind of near the top. But yeah, that's the white truffle. And it's funny because I've also learned, I seen a question about, oh yeah, well, I don't think you have enough time for me to tell you all the things that I don't know, Cheryl, about business. But I will share this. I'm constantly working with ad people, marketing people. I don't have the $1 million budget to do all of the things that I want to do, but I'm constantly reading about ads and marketing and Google Analytics and things like that. So I've now started to have people who like my products. And Marcia, I love her because she posted and wrote things about my products. And what I'm doing is having them write those comments on the website. I recently learned that when it comes to Google Analytics. So that's another tip. People can post about you on Facebook, Instagram. That's great. If you want your website, one of the many algorithms, I should say, there's a lot, but one of them is when people review you on your website. That's big for Google. They pick up on that and that moves you up. So if you were to do a Google Analytic right now on my page, I was doing it last week with a marketing firm that I was, investigating hiring. They were shocked at a novice like me. I was actually in one of the top tiers. Okay. And they were like, wow. I said, yeah, because I talk to people like you for like a half an hour and I may not hire you. Okay. But I implement the stuff that you tell me. They bust out laughing. And I do that too. So I'll talk to people all the time and ask them questions. If people got time to talk to you and answer your questions, utilize that. And I love that lovely lady right there.
That's funny.
Well, I had to post that because people thought that was a great interview. The way you handled. And I said,
I'm laughing at my dress there. Oh wow.
Said, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and I want to share that with everybody because she was hitting me with questions and the back and forth was like, man, y'all could be on national TV. I said, well, hey, if I'm the one that sparks the local Oprah to national TV, then so be it. And my daughter recently, who's my vice president customer experience, right? We got to update her because she's been working on TikTok for us. Oh, and here's a shameless plug. All right. My daughter just recently got accepted to the Arts Academy at Salem that she applied for. And she is so excited to be going there for that. So she's all about social media. And I was just telling her, I said, Soleil, so, That's great. I really want you to pay close. She's a straight A student anyway. But I was like, so I really want you to pay attention to everything social media and marketing. Okay. She's like, well, Dad, yeah, I got you. I got you. I was like, yeah, because you're gonna help the family business with that beautiful little brain that you have. Okay. So we're already setting her up just like a lot of other families do. They send their kids to law school, they become CPAs to help the family business. And I told my daughter, I said, use that artistic brain that you have. So she recently set us up with TikTok. And I tell you why it's amazing what she did. I didn't know this, but she set us up. I usually get about 35 to 40 people come to my website daily. I mean, I got the numbers to show that. It's very low. That's what it is, right? Well, when she did the TikTok, the very first day and attached, her little videos and the stuff we were doing, we went to 200 people in one day. And I couldn't believe it. And it's only going to continue to grow. So TikTok and social media, somebody asked me about that in the chat. Yeah, I don't know a lot about it, but I'm learning about it. And I say to all of you, continue to do the same thing. Learn about it. Ask questions about it. I think, Blair, you have a number of well-connected marketing people in the group. Take advantage of the expertise. Now, as far as CRM,
yeah, that was a question. Are you utilizing the CRM system?
I use the Shopify CRM. So I actually keep up with the clients that I have. I have a couple tools that I have. I have a system called Bold Subscriptions. And this is where people can go to my website. Now, you don't see it, but there's a link at the bottom of the majority of the products on my page that allows you to hit subscribe and save. Well, the app behind that is called Bold Subscriptions that I pay for monthly. And that allows me to go in through Shopify and see exactly what those subscriptions are. And then they send me an email order of what I need to fulfill. So it's automatic. So it sends me an email and then I know to grab, 2 cases of this or some lavender lemonade or whatever the case is. I'll just fulfill it. The other component is Shopify has their own email system that I want to say I got 2,500 emails I can do a month, which I don't do anywhere near that. I usually do 1 to maybe 2 emails a week, if that. I'm not a big email person, but I've started to use it more. And I've noticed that, Shopify tracks everything you do, and it'll show me the metrics of when people click on it, if they unsubscribe. And so far, I haven't had many people unsubscribe at all, maybe 2 out of maybe 50, subscribers, which is pretty good. But about half opened them. And if I go into Shopify now, as I'm speaking, I can tell you that I probably gained about $400 to $500 in sales from my emails. And I've only recently just started using them over the last month or so. So that's pretty good because I didn't realize that people actually do click on the email from time to time, and they like to know what Fresh Cup is doing. And so it's something that's included in my subscription to Shopify. So there's no cost. It's just some time to put together a little email, and it's all templates. So basically all I do is go in and click on, my product that I want to promote, and it automatically populates, and I can, change the wording around a little bit. I can review it, and then I hit send. And so that's the extent of my customer relationship management, tools. And of course, I also have where when people go to my website through Shopify and they leave a cart, okay, they abandon the cart. Well, it sends me a trigger that the system automatically emails that person. And so sometimes people still don't respond. So when I have some time, I'll actually send them a personal email, text message. And I'm able to recover, some, sales. Sometimes you can't. People just, for whatever reason, they get to the checkout and they've spending, I don't know, $20, right? And the shipping is $5. And they go, you know what? That's it. I can't pay the $5. It reminds me of Martin every time. My wife and I, that's an inside joke. I can't pay the $5. I'm not going to pay the $5. It's only $5. And generally, shipping costs me $7 on average. So I'm still really, spending, $2 to ship something to someone. So even though they're paying $5, they're still getting a discounted rate. There's literally nothing I can ship for $5 because basically that would be a letter size something. And I don't, everything I have is several ounces. So that's one of the reasons why we're really looking seriously at shipping, because I think last month I might have spent $800 in shipping, and I'm just like pulling my hair out,
Wow.
But we did probably $4,000 in sales.
Okay.
So, you got to kind of look at it, the good with the bad. But I also look at it and go, well, what if I would have been able to put that $800 toward, I don't know, rent or something, and made $8,000 in sales, because people who want to come to Virginia Beach and pick up product, they can. So that's what I was thinking. So we're still gonna weigh that out. I would love to keep up with you, Blair, and let you know how it's going.
Please do.
I don't know what a mass marketplace is. You got to explain that. Or is that a flea market or something, or like what they used to call
Amazon? Okay.
Oh, okay, Amazon. Yeah. So yeah, I'll talk a little bit about Amazon. Yes, I want to use Amazon in the future. However, you basically almost have to have a lawyer. Well, you really do have to have a lawyer to get Amazon going right, or you need to hire a firm, okay, to get Amazon right, because they will kick you off in a second. They have monthly fees that can be kind of nutty. But I do want to use Amazon. But from talking to people like, one of my board members, Emblem Olive Oil, Chastity Pritchett, she told me, she said, Jarrod, she said, you're still new. And she said, let me tell you, and she gave me, some of her experience. Now, granted, folks, don't always take everybody's experience and think that's going to be your experience. However, I've talked to many folks and also went part of the process, and I just kind of threw my hands up and went, you know what, not right now. This is just crazy to work with Amazon. They make it extremely difficult to work with them. I cannot say that enough. Now, if someone here in the group, I'm very open-minded. If someone here has expertise in Amazon and can get me to the level to where I can not pull my hair out and turn it grayer than what it is, I will leave you. I'll love you to I'll give you my number now. You can call me and talk to me, and I'll be happy to, pay you for your services, because it's labor intensive to get going. And I mean, to get going the right way. That's the other key too. You can half do it, but one thing we pride ourselves at Fresh Cup, we're just not going to half do anything. This is too important for us. We really want to have a legacy for our children, and so I want to do it the right way.
I think that's fair. Makes sense. We have about 10 minutes remaining. Other questions for Jarrod?
I hope I didn't, bore you guys too much, but coffee is actually pretty interesting. And I'll share something with Blair that we talked about before. I think it's more ladies on this call.
Yeah.
So just out of curiosity, how many people here other than Blair don't drink coffee? Okay, so everybody drinks coffee here. Well, that's great. Let me tell you why. And there's several studies that's been done, but the one I like to cite is the Harvard medical study about the reduction in type 2 diabetes, and also the prevention of certain forms of cancer. Basically, what studies have shown, moderate amounts of coffee can help reduce and delay some of those diseases in individuals. And what I thought was interesting was in this one study, it showed that coffee had more beneficial effects on women in fighting certain forms of cancer than in men. So what I came away from that was women who tell me, hey, I don't drink coffee. Well, it's actually got more health benefits for you than me, even though it does help men as well stave off certain forms of cancer. It does fight type 2 diabetes. And so often when you talk to even older Black people and they have diabetes, some of them, believe it or not, they don't drink coffee. And so coffee could be something that could help them. But of course, we don't promote any type of product as a health product. You'll notice that we don't do that on our website. We just don't get into that. When I'm talking in forums like this, I don't mind sharing information that I've, researched, but we don't promote anything as a health, product on the website. But I think that's interesting, to note about the business is that we do have a really ancient product that we're using. And we are talking about Black brand. So guess what? People also don't know that the origins of coffee are in Ethiopia. Often people think it's from Colombia. It is not.
Oh, wow.
The original coffee seed is from Ethiopia. Now, Arabs are credited to, in myth of, maybe bringing it to mass market. In other words, the saying is a African goat herder saw his goats jumping around eating the cherries. And, so he started to eat them. But then an Arab merchant came by and basically talked him into roasting them and then grinding them. And so there's some debate about that. But what everybody does universally agree on is that coffee is originally from Africa. So I think that's interesting as well. And it just kind of spread throughout a certain region called the coffee belt. So coffee only grows in one particular spot on the globe, which is called the coffee belt. It is basically a few hundred miles north and south of the equator. So the whole equator is where coffee grows. It does not grow far below that or far above that. So if you ever look at a map, it's very interesting. That's where the coffee regions are in the world. It's called the equatorial belt. That's it. There you go. See that?
That's fascinating.
Yeah. Well, like I said, when you've been in the business for several years, my companies that I've worked with have sent me all over the country, to learn about coffee and to do shows. And, I'm an inquisitive person. I always knew one day I may have to, have the opportunity to go into business for myself. So why not take advantage and learn about the business that you're in? And I always thought that was interesting. So for instance, the only states that grow coffee are Hawaii and Puerto Rico.
Mm.
So they call it coffee belt.
Makes sense.
Which you see here. Blair, I think if one day, if I was to grow and continue to get things going, I could see myself hiring a roast master one day and having a roast. But right now, I know when I worked for Tidewater Beverage, one of my mentors, Jim Valerio, the owner, who's recently retired, he stayed a merchant or a purveyor of fine coffees for 30 years, and it's just what he did. So you can make a good living from just being a purveyor of fine coffees. In other words, I don't have to roast, but there would be something I might be interested down the line where I could actually roast my own products and that kind of thing. But it's a whole nother level of expertise. And sometimes it's like, why recreate the wheel? In fact, you see those coffees that say organic to the left. These are products that I used to have in the Martins and the Marley, the hot chocolate, all of that. These are all products I used to sell to law firms and offices when I was in the coffee business. So these are things that I want to encourage people. When you work for other people and you see what works in the market, why recreate the wheel? These are things that when I go out, like right now, I'm going to be proposing a new customer that's a business customer this week. When they look at some of these products, they're familiar to them because they're stuff that the office coffee industry uses and they're readily available. So you're not going to come to my website and find, Boo Boo coffee that I wrote my, crayon on. These are legitimate purveyors of really nice products that people can feel comfortable and confident buying because there are some name recognition. I also partner with Segafredo here locally. You see at the bottom. Interestingly enough, they saw me on Wavy TV 10 and they remembered me when I worked in the coffee business. And these coffees here at the bottom, these are only for commercial applications. So We Care Cafe and Salon, they have these because I actually provide, and if you go to Brewers and Accessories right at the top, I'm gonna show you that, right there. Now you see that first brewer right there? See there, it doesn't have a price there. Click on that. If a business contacts me, I can provide you that machine at no cost. You see. So, and if you click on the next thing, you'll see a little.
That's kind of dope, Jarrod.
Yeah. That's a $500 piece of Italian equipment from Massimo Zanetti. And I put that machine at We Care Salon absolutely free because Segafredo reached out to me and said, hey, what can we do to support your business?
Wow.
And they said, listen, so all I have to do to get that machine is I go out and I can sell them all day. All I have to do is buy the coffee. As long as I buy the coffee from them, they'll provide me with the equipment. I've also set up the arrangement with another local supplier to do the same thing. This isn't unusual. This is what the network of coffee suppliers do locally that I used to do when I was in the business.
Makes sense.
But that's what they do. They're not going out. See, we think we have to spend money for every little thing. I happen to know the tricks of the trade because I work with people that have money, have lots of money. They're multi-millionaires and they generally don't buy stuff. So don't ever get yourself in that trap of thinking you got to pay for this, you got to pay for that. You'd be surprised what other certain people, certain backgrounds will give
for free, right?
They'll give it to you for free, but you got to.
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't get me wrong. The rep did try to get me to buy it, but I had to remind her that, yeah, that's right. Send those wealthy people my way. Yeah, that's right. I had to remind her that I used to work for Cardinal Canteen. Okay. And that guess what? Cardinal Canteen. Yes, I'm not Cardinal Canteen. I'm very small, but Cardinal Canteen didn't buy those machines. Mm-hmm. She used to come to my office, Blair, the lady that I'm dealing with Massimo Zanetti, and I'm watching the time, and she would.
I was gonna say we got about 30 seconds.
She would drop them off. She would drop them off to me. Wow. So I'm like, you're gonna give me the same courtesy, or else I'll go somewhere else. She's like, no, I'll work it out. And next thing you know, I got beautiful Italian equipment for my customers like you.
That's awesome. Jarrod, I want to thank you so much for being our resident expert on this week's edition of Coffee Connect. How fitting. Fresh Cup Coffee and Tea Company. Look them up. You have somewhere to patronize all your coffee and tea needs. I'm excited. I'm going to
put discount code to your participants here.
Go ahead.
All right. So since you guys are here with me today, let me give you a discount code from my website. It's real easy. It's Fresh Cup 10%, and then the percent sign behind it. Keep it all together. Fresh Cup 10%.
This show was brought to you by Positive Vibes Incorporated, our consulting services. We do credit fixes, we do tax resolution, we lend private money, and debt consolidation. So if you need some of these services, we're waiting here for you. Credit fixes, tax resolutions, private money, and debt consolidation. Make sure you call Positive Vibes Incorporated.